Just in case you've been under a rock for the past 24 hours, let me remind you that Forest beat Leicester 2-0. Here's the 5 things we learned from the match yesterday. Welcome to Forest Fan TV. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you're having a fantastic weekend. And welcome to the match analysis on Nottingham Forest to Leicester City, because they are a bunch of clowns, 0. And in today's video, we're going to cover off the 5 things we learned from yesterday. Well, there's a lot more, but we'll keep on to 5 to keep the theme of the video going. If you're still smiling from yesterday's result, please don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new here to Forest Fan TV, please do consider subscribing to the channel, as we have everything you need for Nottingham Forest. Daily transfer videos, forums, watch-alongs, player ratings, you name it, we've got it. And if we haven't got it, name it and we'll get it. Anyway, let's get into the video. But before we do, can I have a massive shout out to all the members who joined yesterday on the stream. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If anyone else would like to join, it's 99p. Just hit the join button down below. Okay, let's get started, and let's start with the first thing we learnt from yesterday. Point number 1 is this. Now, I'm an asshole. Well, I don't think that needed much explaining. You lot probably already know that. And one of the things I love to do in my few minutes of spare time is go and watch other fan TV channels. But I only like to watch the ones who lose. I don't care if Arsenal have won or whoever it is. I don't want to go and watch them celebrating. I like watching those fan TVs where they're crying, where they're salty, where they're in tears. And there's plenty of them right now. You look at any of the teams below us and a couple of the teams above us, and they're all in disarray, and it's toxic, and the environment is horrific. And why is this point number 1? Because look at where we are currently. Everyone is smiling. Go have a quick look in the mirror. If there's not a smile on your face, you ain't a red right now. So go have a look in the mirror and look at the difference in terms of the mood that currently is around in the Premier League. Those teams around us are struggling and they're disconnecting from their fan base. And that's going to work in Forest's favour. So it is so important that we carry this feel-good factor into the Bournemouth match, into, I think we got Leeds and Fulham after that. We've got to go and keep this momentum going. So we all need to rally behind the team right now, behind the manager, behind the club, behind everything, and just unite and make sure everything is going in one direction. If you don't believe me, pick any team from below us, go YouTube them and go and check their fan TVs and check how depressed they all are. So that's point number 1 for me. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know. Point number 2 is going to be a bit of a gloating moment for me and one of my boys, Lodi. Lodi is the guy that I remember breaking a video at 2:30 in the morning to say we'd signed him and how excited I was and everything. And a lot, well, not a lot, but there was certain segments of the fan base that thought he wasn't cutting it, bring Tuffalo in, he'd had a crap game against Leicester, this, that, and the other. But now we are seeing the Lodi that I knew we were going to see. And it was just about being patient with him. He's so confident on the ball right now. We're playing to his strengths. And more importantly, he looks happy and settled off the pitch. And we got to remember that he was coming into a country where he didn't speak the language. He didn't know anybody. In our squad, the only person that spoke his language was Cafu. Outside of that, he couldn't communicate with anyone. So bringing in the likes of Scarpa and Danilo has settled him in, well, Scarpa in particular. Obviously, Danilo was still waiting for confirmation on. But in terms of Scarpa coming in, it's just calmed him down, brought him a friend in there. You can see there's connections between him, Taiwo, and Dennis, and it settled him in. And a settled person works better. I'm sure you guys have had it in work when there's stresses in life, etc. It impacts your working progress. When you're relaxed outside of work, you work better. Don't forget as well, he has a pregnant partner. They've got a kid on the way. There's a lot of that stuff going on as well. But I've got to say, I'm so happy to see how well he's performing. And he's only going to go from strength to strength. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm sure you're going to let me know down below. Point number 3 is, well, this isn't really a negative, but it's an interesting headache, I think. It's about the number 10 position, the cam, whichever one of those two you want to call it. MGW is a fantastic number 10. Scarpinia is an exquisite number 10. But a number 10 is only one number, and you can only play one player in there. So it's going to cause a bit of a headache for Cooper, and I think it's a headache he's going to like to have. MGW moving into the middle yesterday, I think changed the match in terms of getting those through balls, both of them, to Brennan. Oh, different class. But again, Scarpa was doing it in the first half. And I think the problem we're having at the moment is because we're playing this 4-3-3, there isn't really officially a number 10 when you look at the position. And that's why Cooper's playing this false 9 to create a number 10 rather than a false 9, which leaves us a hole up front. Look, we've debated this a million times. The easy solution for this, as I've always said, is a 4-2-3-1 because it gives you a natural number 10, 2 attackers either side, and a focal point up front with the striker. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is we're going to have to come to a decision on who our number 10 is. Don't forget, some of you are still fans of Jesse Lingard. He can play in a 10 as well. But what we need to make sure we're not doing is shoehorning players into their incorrect positions to make sure that they're on the pitch. So it may lead to a stage where Cooper has to choose between Lingard, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Scarpinia and only play one of them. But will he do that? And is that the right call? I'm not saying it is. For me personally, if I was going in a 4-2-3-1, I would put Morgan Gibbs-White as the cam. I'd put, I forgot his name now, Scarpinia. How could I forget him? Either on the left or on the right. And then Brennan Johnson in there as well with Owoni up front. And then sitting behind him, take your pick from the two, Froyler Yates, Mangala, Danilo when he comes in. It's going to be interesting. But we just need to be careful on this point that we don't try to shoehorn too many players into their wrong position, which will have a detrimental effect to the overall team balance. Let me know your thoughts on that one. I think it's quite an interesting debate. Point number 4 is about goalkeepers, and in particular how important Dean Henderson is. I'm sure all of your hearts dropped yesterday when he dropped to the floor and started banging on the grass in complete pain. And it's made us think about how deep is our squad when it comes to goalkeeper. Remember, we don't even own Henderson yet. I think it's a deal that will likely happen into the summer as long as our Premier League status remains. But is Hennessy good enough? In my opinion, he's not. Smith obviously made the save against Ipswich and he's riding off that one still. And what a save it was. But performance-wise, he's not good enough. Maybe we need to get a backup in this window. I've suggested Carl Darlow as a number 2. I don't know how he's performed because he's not really playing. But back in the day when he was at Forest, I thought he was all right. Maybe that would be good to bring him in. Because Hennessy, in my opinion, is getting to that age where he's probably getting very late into the twilight of his career. I think Hendo is the one we need to sign. I think he is a great number 1 and he plays like he is a Red. He's got that passion and that fire for it. But if he's injured, and hopefully he is not, but we know for sure he won't play against Manchester United, I worry about the depth in our goalkeeping position, and I think it needs to be addressed this window. Do you agree or not? And then finally, point number 5 is about the poster boy right here, Brennan Johnson, the guy that I've loved since the moment I've set eyes on him. He's been, what he did last season is unrepeatable. His performances, his key goals, his pace, he was brilliant. And then this season, I don't think many fans would agree that he hasn't started off as hot as he was playing last year. But yesterday in the second half, we were seeing signs of the old Brennan Johnson. Now, it did help that Leicester's defence was woeful, trying to play a really high line, giving him all that grass behind them to run into. And when you got Morgan Gibbs-White, who can find those passes, it's candy from a baby kind of thing for Jono in those situations. So he needs to make himself more available in those positions. And I think those 2 goals are going to give him huge, huge confidence. They were, in-play goals. It wasn't like it was a penalty or a ricochet or anything. He had work to do on both of them. So do we now see Jono kick on? I really hope so, because I love this kid. And I think this could be a good trigger for him. Bournemouth next. He should be able to demolish that defence. Let's hope. We've had a couple of false starts with him. After Blackburn, I thought he was going to kick on again, and then he had a bit of a poor game I can't remember what was after that, the Man U game or whatever it was. So let's hope now he kicks on and he starts living to his potential. But let's not put pressure on him either. He's still extremely young. Coming out of the team for him shouldn't be a massive problem because it will give him time to develop. He's got a long, long career ahead of him. And hopefully it's at Nottingham Forest. But so pleased for him to score those goals yesterday. Let me know your thoughts on Brennan down below. And finally, tonight we have the grumpy old Reds kicking off at about 8:45 p.m. where we'll be, well, carrying on from the party stream last night, I guess, because the smiles are still on our face. We look forward to bringing you guys in and seeing what you guys have to say in the chat as well. Maybe we call it Happy Old Reds tonight. I don't know. What do you guys think? The vlog, by the way, is in production, so bear with us as we put all the footage together. There's a lot of it, but we want to make it a bit more interesting and not as boring as some other vlogs, you know, so we want to make it a little bit different. So bear with us on that one. We'll get that up for you as soon as possible. If you're still around and you haven't already, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Welcome to Forest Fan TV. And if you want to become a member, it's only 99p. Please consider helping us with all our production and upgrades. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you either on the vlog or Grumpy Old Reds. I don't know. There's more content coming your way. Come on, you Reds.